Forgiveness is not something we do once and check off a list. It is a living practice, a tender unwinding that happens in layers, sometimes over years, sometimes in a single breath. And perhaps the deepest truth about forgiveness is this: when we withhold it, we are the ones who suffer most. The person who hurt us may have moved on, may not even remember the incident that carved such pain into our hearts, yet we remain tethered to that moment, replaying it, rehearsing our anger, feeding the wound with our attention. This is the weight we carry, and it is so much heavier than we realize until we finally set it down. When we hold resentment, we are saying to the universe, I choose this pain over my peace. I choose this story over my freedom. We build walls around our hearts, thinking we are protecting ourselves, but those same walls keep out the very love we long for. They keep out joy. They keep out new possibilities. They keep us living in yesterday, unable to fully arrive in the gift of today. The energy it takes to maintain unforgiveness is enormous. It drains us. It colors everything we see. It makes us suspicious, guarded, unable to trust. And underneath all of that vigilance is exhaustion, a bone-deep tiredness that comes from carrying something that was never ours to carry in the first place. I have learned through my own journey that forgiveness is one of the most powerful acts of self-love we can practice. It is not about being weak or letting someone off the hook. It is not about pretending something did not happen or saying it was acceptable. Forgiveness is about freeing ourselves from the grip of the past so we can live fully in the present. It is about choosing our own well-being over the satisfying but ultimately hollow comfort of being right, of holding on to our story of victimhood, of keeping the other person frozen in our minds as the villain. When we forgive, we are not doing something for them. We are doing something sacred for ourselves. Many of us have been taught misunderstandings about what forgiveness truly is. We think it means we must reconcile with the person who hurt us, that we must invite them back into our lives, that we must trust them again. But forgiveness does not require any of that. We can forgive someone and still choose not to have them in our life. We can forgive and still maintain healthy boundaries. We can forgive and still acknowledge that what happened was wrong. Forgiveness is an internal shift, a release that happens within our own hearts. It is a decision to stop giving our precious life energy to something that is already over. It is a willingness to let the story soften, to allow the sharp edges of our anger to smooth over time, to open our clenched fist and see what we have been holding on to so tightly. The work of forgiveness often begins by looking at what we are actually angry about. Beneath the surface story, there are usually deeper feelings: betrayal, abandonment, humiliation, fear. We feel these things so intensely because they touch old wounds, places where we were hurt before, patterns that reach back into our childhood. The present situation becomes a trigger for all the times we felt unseen, unvalued, disrespected, or unloved. This is why forgiveness work can feel so overwhelming. We are not just forgiving one person or one event. We are unwinding layers of accumulated pain, some of it so old we have forgotten where it came from. When we hold a grudge, we are often holding a mirror up to ourselves, though we do not realize it. The qualities we judge most harshly in others are frequently the qualities we have disowned in ourselves. If someone's selfishness enrages us, we might look at where we have suppressed our own needs and taught ourselves that wanting anything is wrong. If someone's dishonesty triggers us, we might examine where we have lied to ourselves, where we have betrayed our own truth. This does not mean the other person's behavior was acceptable. It simply means that our strongest reactions are invitations to look deeper, to heal something within ourselves that has been waiting for our attention. I have found that true forgiveness begins with compassion for our own humanity. We are all doing our best with the level of consciousness we have in any given moment. The person who hurt us was operating from their own pain, their own limitations, their own unhealed wounds. This does not excuse their actions, but it helps us see them as a whole person rather than a villain. And more importantly, it helps us see ourselves with that same compassion. We have all made mistakes. We have all acted from fear or pain. We have all said things we wish we could take back, done things we regret. When we can hold ourselves gently, acknowledging our imperfections without drowning in shame, we create the ground from which forgiveness can grow. Our bodies hold the stories of unforgiveness in ways that our minds often overlook. When we think about someone who hurt us, notice what happens in the body. Does the chest tighten? Do the shoulders rise toward the ears? Does the jaw clench? Does the breath become shallow? These are not just random responses. The body is showing us exactly where we are storing that resentment, where we are literally holding on to the past. Unforgiveness lives in our muscles, our fascia, our organs. It creates tension patterns that become so familiar we stop noticing them. We walk around with contracted bodies, wondering why we feel tired, why our backs ache, why we cannot take a full breath. When we begin the practice of forgiveness, the body responds. Sometimes people report feeling physically lighter, as though they have set down a heavy bag they did not realize they were carrying. Sometimes there is a softening in the chest, a release in the shoulders, a deepening of the breath. The body knows when we are ready to let go, and it celebrates that release. We might notice that old pains ease, that sleep comes more easily, that there is more energy available for the present moment. This is not magic. This is simply what happens when we stop spending so much of our life force maintaining walls and defenses, when we allow the natural flow of our energy to move freely again. Take a moment right now, if you are willing, to place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Feel the warmth of your own touch. Notice the rise and fall of your breath. This simple gesture of self-connection is the beginning of forgiveness. We cannot forgive from a place of self-abandonment. We must first come home to ourselves, must first offer ourselves the tenderness we have been withholding. Breathe in slowly, and as you breathe out, let your shoulders drop just a little. Let your jaw soften. You do not have to do anything right now except be here, in this moment, in this body, breathing. The deepest work of forgiveness often involves forgiving ourselves. We carry so much shame, so much regret, so many harsh judgments about our own past choices. We replay our mistakes, wondering why we were so foolish, so blind, so naive. We berate ourselves for staying too long, for trusting the wrong person, for not seeing the red flags, for not protecting ourselves better. But here is what I have come to understand. We were always doing our best with the awareness we had at the time. We made those choices from where we were, not from where we are now. It is unfair to judge our past selves with our current wisdom. It is like expecting a child to have the knowledge of an adult. Self-forgiveness requires that we speak to ourselves with the same kindness we would offer a dear friend. Would you tell someone you love that they are stupid for having been hurt? Would you tell them they should have known better, that it is their own fault? Of course not. You would hold them, comfort them, remind them that being human means being vulnerable, means making mistakes, means learning as we go. We deserve that same gentle voice turned inward. Every choice we made was an attempt to meet a need, to find safety, to experience love. Even the choices that hurt us were attempts at something. We can honor that part of ourselves that was trying, even if the method did not work out as we hoped. I invite you to try this practice when you are alone and quiet. Stand in front of a mirror and look into your own eyes. This might feel uncomfortable at first. We are not used to truly seeing ourselves. But stay with it. Take a few breaths. Then say your own name and follow it with these words. I forgive you. I forgive you for every mistake, every harsh word you spoke to yourself, every time you abandoned your own needs, every choice you regret. I forgive you. You were doing your best. You are doing your best. I love you. You might feel resistance. You might feel tears rising. Both are welcome. This is the tender work of coming back to ourselves, of offering ourselves the grace we have been starving for. Forgiveness is not a one-time event, but a daily practice, a gradual softening that unfolds over time. Some days we will feel generous and open, able to hold ourselves and others with compassion. Other days the old anger will rise up and we will feel justified in our resentment all over again. This is natural. Healing is not linear. We spiral through our pain, visiting the same territories again and again, each time from a slightly different vantage point, each time releasing a little more. There is no deadline for forgiveness. There is no exam to pass, no certificate to earn. This is a lifelong practice of choosing peace over being right, of choosing freedom over the familiar comfort of our grievances. One of the simplest practices I have found is to work with the breath as a vehicle for release. Sit comfortably, close your eyes if that feels safe, and bring to mind something or someone you are ready to begin forgiving. You do not have to feel ready to fully let go. You just need a tiny willingness, a crack in the door. As you breathe in, silently say, I am willing to release this. As you breathe out, silently say, I choose peace. Do this for just a few minutes. You are not forcing anything. You are simply planting seeds, letting your subconscious mind know that you are open to a new way of being. Over time, this gentle repetition creates shifts. The walls begin to soften, the grip loosens, the story loses some of its charge. Another practice is to write letters you will never send. Pour everything onto the page, your anger, your hurt, your confusion, all the things you wish you had said. Do not censor yourself. Let it be messy and raw. Then, when you have emptied it all out, write a second letter from the perspective of your highest self, the part of you that sees the bigger picture, that understands that everyone is struggling, that everyone is wounded. Write with compassion, not to excuse the behavior, but to humanize the person, to release the story that keeps you trapped. When you are finished, you might burn the letters, releasing the energy, or tuck them away. The act of writing itself is the healing. You are externalizing what has been churning inside, giving it form, and in doing so, beginning to release it. Forgiveness also asks us to examine our expectations. So much of our pain comes from believing things should have been different. We think people should have treated us better, should have seen our value, should have loved us the way we needed. But the word should is one of the most painful words we use. It keeps us at war with reality. What happened, happened. The person behaved the way they did. The situation unfolded as it did. This does not mean we condone it. It simply means we stop exhausting ourselves by arguing with what is already over. When we release the should, we create space for acceptance, and acceptance is the doorway to peace. As we practice forgiveness, something beautiful begins to happen. Our hearts, which have been clenched and guarded, start to soften. We notice that we are more open to connection, more willing to be vulnerable, more able to trust. This does not happen overnight, and it does not mean we become naive or careless with our hearts. It means we are no longer so afraid of being hurt that we shut ourselves off from love altogether. We understand, and that risk is part of love, that opening to another person means accepting the possibility of pain, and we choose to open anyway because the alternative, a closed and defended heart, is a lonelier and more painful way to live. When we forgive, we are not erasing the past or pretending it did not matter. We are integrating it. We are taking the lessons, the growth, the wisdom that came from that painful experience, and we are leaving the bitterness behind. We are saying, that happened, and it was hard, and I survived, and I am choosing not to let it define the rest of my life. This is an act of immense courage. It is far easier to stay bitter, to keep blaming, to hold on to our story of being wronged. Forgiveness requires us to be more powerful than our pain, to be bigger than our wounds, to step into the truth of who we really are, beings of love, capable of immense compassion and grace. One of the most profound shifts that occurs through forgiveness is a change in how we see ourselves. When we hold on to resentment, we identify as a victim. We are the one who was hurt, the one who was betrayed, the one who suffered. And while it is important to acknowledge our pain, if we stay in that identity too long, it becomes a prison. Forgiveness allows us to reclaim our power. We move from victim to survivor to thriver. We recognize that what happened to us is not the totality of who we are. We are not defined by our wounds. We are defined by how we choose to heal, by the love we cultivate, by the kindness we offer ourselves and others. There is no perfect timeline for forgiveness. For some wounds, the release comes quickly. For others, it takes years. There is no shame in taking time. There is no virtue in forcing ourselves to forgive before we are ready. What matters is the willingness, the intention, the gentle opening. Even if today all we can muster is a tiny whisper of, I am willing to consider the possibility of forgiveness someday, that is enough. That small willingness sets forces in motion. The universe responds to our intentions. Life begins to bring us experiences, insights, teachers, moments of grace that support our healing. We do not have to do this alone. We are held always by something larger than ourselves. Trust the timing of your own unfolding. Trust that your heart knows when it is safe to soften, when it is ready to release, when it is strong enough to open again. Do not compare your journey to anyone else's. Do not let anyone tell you that you should be over it by now, that you are holding on to things too long, that you need to just let it go. Your process is your own. Honor it. Move at the pace that feels right for you. Forgiveness is not a race. It is a sacred, tender, deeply personal journey back to yourself, back to wholeness, back to the open-hearted way you were meant to live. As we begin to release the old stories, we often notice that love starts to show up differently in our lives. We attract healthier relationships, we set better boundaries, we recognize red flags earlier, we trust our intuition, we are less willing to tolerate disrespect or neglect because we have learned to treat ourselves with respect and care. Forgiveness does not make us weak or naive. It makes us wiser, clearer, more discerning. We have done the work of healing our wounds, so we are no longer unconsciously seeking someone to heal them for us. We come to relationships from a place of wholeness rather than neediness, offering love rather than desperately seeking it. Love in its truest form is our natural state. We are born open, trusting, curious, affectionate. It is only through the accumulation of hurts, disappointments, and betrayals that we learn to close, to guard, to protect. Forgiveness is the process of unwinding all of that conditioning, of returning to the innocent openness we once knew. It is not about becoming vulnerable in a careless way. It is about being open with wisdom, trusting with discernment, loving with healthy boundaries. We can be both soft and strong, both tender and fierce in our commitment to our own well-being. When we forgive, we are also teaching the people around us what is possible. Our healing ripples outward. Our children, our friends, our partners witness our transformation and are inspired by it. They see that it is possible to carry pain without being destroyed by it, to be hurt without hardening permanently, to choose love even after experiencing betrayal. This is one of the greatest gifts we can offer the world, our own healed hearts, our own willingness to keep choosing connection over isolation, forgiveness over resentment, love over fear. There will be moments when forgiveness feels impossible, when the hurt is too fresh, the betrayal too deep. In those moments, be gentle with yourself. Do not force it. Simply tend to your wounds. Comfort yourself. Surround yourself with people who see your pain and do not minimize it. Allow yourself to grieve what was lost, what was broken, what will never be the same. Grief and forgiveness are not opposites. They are companions. We must grieve before we can fully release. We must feel the depth of our pain before we can let it go. Honor every stage of the process. As time passes and the charge begins to fade, you will notice something miraculous. The person or situation that once consumed your thoughts, that you replayed obsessively, begins to occupy less space in your mind. You can think about what happened without the same visceral reaction. You can tell the story without reliving the pain in your body. This is not because you have suppressed or denied anything. It is because you have truly released it. The forgiveness has become real, integrated into your being. You are no longer carrying that weight. You have set it down, and you are walking forward lighter, freer, more available for the beauty and love that is here, now, waiting for you. Forgiveness frees the heart to love again because it clears away the debris of the past. It is like cleaning out a house that has been cluttered for years. At first, the task seems overwhelming. There is so much to sort through, so much to release. But as we work, one box at a time, one memory at a time, one feeling at a time, we begin to create space. Light comes in through the windows. Fresh air circulates. We can see the beauty of the structure underneath all the clutter. Our hearts are like that house. Underneath all the accumulated pain, all the old stories, all the resentment and hurt, there is a vast, beautiful, generous space capable of enormous love. You do not need to wait until you feel completely healed to begin opening your heart again. You can open even with your wounds, even with your scars. In fact, those scars are evidence of your strength, your resilience, your capacity to endure and to grow. They are not marks of damage, but signs of your journey, your courage, your willingness to keep showing up for life, even when life has been hard. Every scar tells a story of survival, of healing, of a wound that was tended to with care. You can be proud of your scars. They are part of it. F your beauty. The freedom that comes from forgiveness is unlike any other freedom. It is not about external circumstances changing, though sometimes they do. It is an internal liberation, a loosening of the chains we have been wearing for so long we forgot we were bound. When we forgive, we step into a new relationship with our past. It no longer controls us, no longer dictates how we feel, no longer determines what we believe is possible for our future. We reclaim our power, we reclaim our peace, we reclaim our right to be happy, to be loved, to experience joy regardless of what has happened before. I have witnessed so many people transform through the practice of forgiveness. They come to this work weighed down, exhausted, unable to imagine ever feeling light again. And slowly, through their willingness, through their daily practice, through their courage to feel everything and release it, they change. Their faces soften, their eyes brighten, they laugh more easily. They speak about the future with hope instead of dread. They attract new people and opportunities that reflect their healed state. They become proof that forgiveness is not just a spiritual concept, but a tangible, life-changing practice that anyone can embrace. As we move forward, unburdened by the past, we begin to see that life is always offering us new beginnings. Every morning is a fresh start. Every breath is an opportunity to choose differently. We are not locked into old patterns, old identities, old pain. We have the power in every moment to soften, to release, to open, to love. This power is always available to us. It does not depend on anyone else changing, apologizing, or understanding. It depends only on our willingness to let go, to trust, to believe that we are worthy of peace and love no matter what has happened. Forgiveness is an act of faith. It is faith in our own resilience, faith in the possibility of healing, faith that love is stronger than hurt, that light is stronger than darkness, that our capacity for joy is greater than our capacity for pain. When we forgive, we are saying yes to life, yes to ourselves, yes to the future. We are declaring that we will not be prisoners of the past, that we will not let old wounds dictate our present, that we will claim the fullness of who we are and all that we can become. The heart that has forgiven is a powerful heart. It has faced its pain and emerged more compassionate. It has been broken and learned how to heal. It has been betrayed and chosen to trust again. This is not weakness. This is the ultimate strength. This is the bravery of staying open in a world that often teaches us to close. This is the radical act of believing that we deserve love, that we are capable of love, that love is our birthright and our essence no matter what anyone has done or failed to do. So if you are standing at the edge of forgiveness, wondering if you can do it, wondering if it is worth it, I am here to tell you that you can, and it is. You have everything you need within you already. You have the capacity to release. You have the wisdom to heal. You have the courage to open your heart again. It will not always be easy. There will be setbacks, moments when the old anger flares up, times when you wonder if you are making progress. But if you keep returning to the practice, if you keep choosing peace, If you keep offering yourself compassion, you will find your way through. And on the other side, there is a life waiting for you that is richer, more vibrant, more full of love than you ever imagined possible. Your heart is ready. It has always been ready. It is simply waiting for your permission, your willingness, your gentle nod that says, yes, I am ready to be free. I am ready to love again. I am ready to live without the weight of the past. I am ready to forgive. And when you offer that permission, everything begins to shift. The universe conspires to support you. Grace flows in. Healing accelerates. Love returns. You discover that you are not alone in this journey, that you are held, guided, supported every step of the way. You are loved beyond measure, exactly as you are, with all your wounds and all your beauty. And you are always, always worthy of the peace and freedom that forgiveness brings.